Hear the question brought to the text. YHWH, do you approve of adding this Bible Code ELS edition? The lead verse is Ezekiel chapter 18. Verse 4 opens with a direct and solemn command to observe. YHWH declares all people are His, and as the life of the Father, so also the life of the Son is His. The person that sins will die. This establishes the posture required for this edition. Attention, measurement, truth, a covenantal boundary, a matter of life and death requiring precise observation. We must listen carefully to the voice of the text today. The narrative moves to priestly remembrance and appointed seasons in Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 30 and 31, asking to be remembered for good, and for the wood offering and the first fruits. It warns of being cut off from Israel for failing to observe required purification. As written in Numbers chapter 19, verse 13, the person will be unclean and his uncleanness remains on him. The text insists that where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that observes Torah is happy, according to Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. We are called to handle sacred things with absolute precision and deep reverence. As the draw progresses, it emphasizes the written word and revelation. We see the receipt of books and the explicit declaration of covenant truth. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 7 declares that the mouth will speak covenant truth, and covenant wickedness is an abomination to the lips. This is the absolute and unchanging standard for any addition to the sacred text. The concept of numbering and measuring is struck in Daniel chapter 5, verse 26, where Elohim has numbered the kingdom and finished it. We call upon YHWH to be known, as in 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 37, asking that the people may know He is YHWH Elohim, and that He has turned their heart back again. The text weaves a story of separating sacred from profane. Enoch chapter 90, verse 15 explicitly references the man who wrote the book according to the command of YHWH, directly addressing the nature of an encoded textual edition. This requires the refiner's work to purify the priesthood. Malachi chapter 3, verse 3 tells us He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and He will consecrate and purify the sons of Levi, so that they may approach YHWH with a priestly offering in covenant faithfulness. This edition is a profound matter of priestly stewardship for those who tremble at the words of the Elohim of Israel, as recorded in Ezra chapter 9, verse 4, sitting appalled until the evening sacrifice. The draw frames this edition not as a human invention, but as a tool for those who serve in the sanctuary. Jubilees chapter 31, verse 5 speaks of approaching Him to serve in His sanctuary as the angels of the presence and the holy ones. It serves to refine, measure, and reveal the eternal truth of the covenant inheritance. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 2 reminds us that the priests will have no inheritance among their kinsmen, because YHWH is their covenant inheritance, as He has promised. We are reminded in Psalms chapter 77, verse 10 to remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. The earth that drinks in the rain and brings forth herbs receives sacred blessing from Elohim, as written in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 7. The affirmative posture of the text is confirmed by extreme statistical anomaly. The mathematical verdict is a lean yes, 96.1% probability of affirmation, 3.6% no, and 0.3% unresolved. This is not marginal. The structural architecture of the covenant is overwhelmingly present. The triple convergence standard fires at a massive rate above the non-randomness index, achieving a 6.23 sigma discovery level anomaly. The guided draw E-value registers as an extreme anomaly, far beyond random chance. The mathematics leave absolutely no room for ambiguity. This draw departs radically from random chance and confirms the divine measure. The claim is a strong anomaly, meaning all gates pass and the signal is pure. The convergence confidence index crosses the threshold across all channels, and the polarity balance index leans affirmative. We see the glory of Elohim and the Son of Man standing on the right hand, as described in Acts chapter 7, verses 55 and 56. The lightnings, voices, and thunderings come forth from the throne, with 7 lamps of fire burning in the sacred presence, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim, as revealed in Revelation chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. This profound convergence indicates the shield protocol is fully active, and the life force experiment yields a strong anomaly. The text demands we become watchful and strengthen the remaining things, as instructed in Revelation chapter 3, verse 2. The narrative also warns against the work of men's hands and false Elohim. Isaiah chapter 37, verses 18 and 19 declare the kings of Assyria have cast their Elohim into the fire, because they were not Elohim, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed them. We must not set up idols in our hearts or minds, as warned in Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 7. Instead, we must keep his way and guard his life, for the highway of the upright is to depart from badness, according to Proverbs chapter 16, verse 17. The covenant faithful shall be resplendent, while those born in darkness are led into darkness, as Enoch chapter 108, verse 15 reveals. We are called to be a treasured people above all peoples, keeping the Sabbath and blessing him who created all things, as stated in Jubilees chapter 2, verse 9. The authority of this edition is confirmed by the works done in the Father's name. Joshua answered them, I told you, and you believed not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me, as recorded in John chapter 10, verse 25. We must not glory in our wisdom, might or riches, but let him that glories glory in this, that he understands and knows YHWH, as declared in Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 23. Because he commanded and raised the stormy wind that lifted up the waves, as written in Psalms chapter 107, verse 25. None will be exhausted or stagger, none drowsy or asleep, neither will the waist clothes of their loins be thrown open, nor the shoelaces of their shoes be torn up, according to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 27. Your shoes will be iron and brass, and as your days, so will your strength be, as promised in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 25. Does YHWH approve of adding this Bible Code ELS edition? The text answers with a resounding affirmative. The command to observe is clear. The declaration of covenant truth is absolute. The mathematical convergence confirms the divine measure. The refiner's fire purifies the sons of Levi, and the written line is established according to the command of YHWH. Proceed with the addition, observing the strict standard of truth it requires. Receive one another as Messiah also received us to the glory of Elohim, as written in Romans chapter 15, verse 7. Remember the covenant faithfulness of the Most High, and let the words of the sacred text guide your steps in uprightness. The life force experiment yields a clear verdict, and the shield protocol stands firm. May your breath return, and may you rise immediately to receive the food of the sacred word. As the breath returned to the daughter in Luke chapter 8, verse 55. He will deliver you in 6 troubles, and in 7 there will no bad touch you, as promised in Job chapter 5, verse 19. The verses drawn in this Shield 17.9 session were Ezekiel chapter 18 verse 4, Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 30 to 31, Numbers chapter 19, verse 13, Proverbs chapter 29 verse 18, Enoch chapter 91 verse 7, Isaiah chapter 32 verse 9. This concludes today's interpretation under the Shield Protocol.